Welcome to the London Acoustics channel. Back then, in the technologically distant 2015, I found myself producing a record that by design had to sound very analog, despite the fact that it had been recorded in a digital audio workstation, and despite the fact that it had to be finalized as far as possible in the box. After several unsuccessful attempts, I realized that I'd probably have to spend some time trying out many commercially available plugins to achieve my goal. I tested trials that promised an analog sound, from the free to the more expensive ones, including those that required DSP hardware. Despite my initial disappointing results, I ended up buying plugins based on DSP hardware, appreciating, more than the sound itself, the well-calibrated interfaces that were pretty much identical to their hardware counterparts. Although this helped me to add some basic analog sound credibility, I realized it required a minimum of 8 to 10 insert slots per track, creating obvious complexity in gain staging and the risk of unwanted artifacts due to the difficulty of controlling and navigating such complex routing. I then remembered another plugin, Acoustics Audio Nebula, which years earlier had impressed me with its sound, but was overlooked at the time because it was very heavy on resources. I checked its availability and discovered it was still there and had matured to version 3 Pro. After immediately purchasing it, I started using it with the factory libraries, together with Henry Alonga's paid collection, finally finding, despite a rather steep learning curve, the sound I had always had in my head. Bingo! But even with Nebula, to emulate an entire EQ, for example, I needed at least 3 to 4 instances of it in series. With further research on the web, I then discovered the advent of the first Acoustics Aqua effects, which also seemed to solve this last technical obstacle. And this is where the London Acoustics project began. How nice it would be to create a coherent sound system, a precise custom shop signature, was my immediate thought. And so I immediately talked about it with my business partner. Within a short time, I got to know the guys from Accoustica, Giancarlo, Francesco, Fabio, Enrique, etc. And as London Acoustics, we embarked on the small but great third-party journey with them. The aim of London Acoustics has always been to provide first and foremost for ourselves and for our loyal clientele of professionals a coherent and immediate sound system with effective, credible results, achievable with little effort and possibly only a couple of inserts. As a boutique company, we have always put sound quality above resource consumption, but we must say that Accoustica supports us by continuing to perfect their technical part. So paradoxically, the new plugins weigh less than the old ones, in stark contrast to the rest of the informatic world. In summary, the user who chooses London Acoustics chooses to have a system of machines that work well together, coherently and effectively. That hardly becomes obsolete as it keeps up with the latest technology available. However, we have decided to integrate new technologies only when these introductions are actually an improvement in sound and resources. If either of these things fails, we prefer to wait and discuss better implementations with Acoustics Audio, so that there is no compromise compared to the plugin's initial design. In today's hectic pro audio marketplace, which is often fed by novelties that last only a few weeks, we have preferred to take care of our products by updating and improving them. This does not mean that new plugins are not coming out. It just means that we carefully consider what we do. We do so to respect those who have put their trust in us and continue to support us. So, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.